When using the new Aotearoa New Zealand histories curriculum content in the classroom, one of the biggest things was around the language used. So it meant that I was able to look at some of my current units that I already do and look at where I could sort of change some of the language that I was using to really pull out sort of those key critical thinking ideas. But it also enabled me to kind of see also where what I was teaching fit into the different big ideas. For instance, looking at immigration. But how can I direct that to our local context? So it just sort of gave me a bit of a framework really to use with units that I already had, and then lots of suggestions for new units. In the junior program for social studies, we do a sort of overview of New Zealand history from Polynesian settlement in Year 9 up to the signing of the treaty, and then signing of the treaty up to today.
I'm learning a lot of new things lately, especially about the history of Aotearoa, and it's really interesting to understand the significance of their language and the Treaty of Waitangi.
Learning the new history curriculum in social studies in Year 10 was super eye-opening in the sense that, you know, our teachers weren't afraid to face the hard topics or talk about things that might make us uncomfortable, but also offered like room for space if we needed to take a minute. I love learning about Pasifika people and how their journey and their people like the Polynesian Panthers, who were a group that like fought for justice, and seeing that change happening. It's very inspiring as like someone who's young, and you know, we're not afraid to shy away from those hard topics. Like, we want to learn about it, we want to be able to be that change.
There's something about young people these days who, and I think more so than in other generations, where they are really invested in learning about the Indigenous knowledge of their whenua. Like this year I've had a few students ask me about wanting to learn in Year 10 social studies, wanting to learn about the Dawn Raids.
So with the Dawn Raids, like the injustice they faced, and you know, relating that back to what my people had to go through, and it's really interesting learning about what different cultures had to go through and how they can all kind of relate to one another on a certain level.
At St Catherine's College, we've got a really big Filipino group of students, and so that's something new for me, that I'm exploring Filipino history. And the response when I've just said to some kids like, I'm thinking about doing this, what do you think? Like, they're so excited, you know, and that makes me really excited about it. So I feel like we bounce off each other quite a lot with that.
One thing that really interested me was how Miss Wood brought up the idea of learning about the Philippines history. And so that really surprised me, and I was really excited because I know nothing about my own history of my own country, which I should, because that's where I came from. And so that would be something that would be really interesting for me to learn about. It's cool to see the relation between how the Maori history and the Filipino history, and just seeing maybe things that would have been similar. Learning about this definitely like increases my confidence in being able to interact with other people, because in that way I'm able to like learn from them, and they can learn from me, like through what I've go through in my culture and what they do. And so it's definitely like confidence booster.
So I think that the biggest impact is just actually understanding how our society works and understanding each other. I think that's one of the biggest opportunities that this curriculum has, and that I'm already beginning to see in my students. For me as a teacher, it's definitely about learning along the way. The biggest thing is that it's not all new. You're probably already doing it, so just give it a go. The kids love it.